Hey guys, today we're looking at a RPS Canyon 250 ATV sold through txpowersports.com. It's got about 30 minutes on it, so keep that in mind with this video. So far, things seem to be working out pretty good. It does seem to be a higher end Chinese four-wheeler, but it is a Chinese four-wheeler. There has been some issues in the first 30 minutes or so that we've rode on this thing. But so far I like it. We bought it for the wife. It's a little smaller for a grown man, but it will get you around the house, around the yard, around the farm. It'll do everything you need. Carry bags of dog food across the yard, a little small trailer, something like that. But I will say that there's been some issues. First issue that we encountered is the hazard light right here. It does come with a hazard light. You can see it's working now. But the reason it's working now is it quit working. No matter what you did, you turn the switch on, turn it off, it wouldn't work. It would when it first got here, but then it quit working. Contacted the company, they sent me a new switch. I popped it in today, and it does work now. All right, second issue we had with it. The brake line right here. You can see that it's in kind of a weird angle that puts pressure on it, and I believe this is what caused it, but from the factory it bubbled up, a huge bubble in the side of the brake line, which did pop and got a little bit of brake fluid right in here and kind of got a little bit of the paint. We contacted the company, they sent me a new brake line. Okay, issue fixed. All right, but then we had another issue. Bike wouldn't crank. It'd turn over, turn over, and turn over, and if it did finally start to fire up, it just cut right back off. What we found that to be was a bad ignition switch. When you turn it on, it got to where it would start flickering, and if it did stay on solid, if you got it to crank, the vibration would just cause something to short out, cut itself back off. That one was a hard one to diagnose because of the way it started off. It only started flickering towards the longer we tried it. So when it first started happening, it actually gave the appearance that it was a carburetor problem, which we knew for a fact not to be a carburetor issue. We did get in touch with TX Power Sports. They sent us a new switch, fixed it, problem solved. All right, so now on to some of the stuff that, and also when we got it, the front left shock bolts were missing out of the package. On the front right hand side, the bolts, your shocks was just left dangling. And they had the bolts already in the bottom of it, and you just had to take them out, put them into your A-arm, and roll with it. Well, the front left side was completely missing. These were completely missing from the factory. We was able to go to Tractor Supply. We was able to match up the bolts. We got an identical set of a higher grade, so it's actually a perfect thing for us because now at least we know that it's a higher grade bolt, won't break. Since I've got it, not done a whole lot to it, but we did go ahead and put a trailer hitch on the back of it. Haven't tested it out yet, but just keep in mind that these will swing left and right. If you get too much pressure, if you're taking a turn, this thing will swing to the right just because of the way that it's designed from the factory. I went ahead and instead of using a hitch pin, it rattled and it rattled and it rattled. So I took a hitch pin out, got me a bolt with a lock washer, stuck it on there. That rattling noise went away. So then I turned around and got a hitch stabilizer to get the hitch itself rattle out because it wasn't as loud as the hitch pin, but it was pretty loud and I could tell it. Somebody that didn't know what it was could have mistaken something being wrong with their four-wheeler or something like that. So I did go ahead and do that. That thing's locked up pretty good, don't make a sound. It's tough as can be. Ready to rock and roll. Did go ahead and upgrade the spark plug. Them Chinese spark plugs ain't worth the crap. Another issue that we had. From the factory, they sent too long of an ignition coil, and it left a lot of this dangling, and you can kind of see on the exhaust. It dangled on top of the exhaust, burning in half. Did have to get a brand new one of those. Just ordered a cheap one on Amazon. It was like 12 bucks or something. Put it on there, and it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. I didn't want to bother the factory too much because all the other stuff that was actually broke with it. So I just purchased that myself. No big deal. Works great. And it looks cooler because it's green. All right. We got the oil changed out to a full synthetic. Don't have it with me, but I believe it was the Chinese ATV full synthetic. We picked it up at Walmart. It's like $7 a quart, something like that. Did go ahead and put on a USB charger. It's run to the battery tender stuff. It's tied directly to the battery. I don't like cutting into factory wiring, especially when there's still a warranty on it, because they can use that to avoid your warranty. So we didn't cut into any factory wiring. So if you plug this in, you hit the button. It'll tell you how many volts is on the battery, which that's their brand new battery. It's 13 volts right now. Pop your waterproof cover off, which these aren't actually waterproof. And if you get any water inside of this, it will quit working. Luckily, they're only about $13 on Amazon. All right. Next mod, we did winch. We did hook up a winch. They give you the space for one inside of there, but they don't actually, you can't buy the actual mountain brackets for it. So I did customize and do a little bit of fabrication. I was able to make a mountain bracket out of some parts that I was able to get through Tractor Supply and Harbor Freight. Bought the winch through Harbor Freight, used the coupon, got it for like $55 or something like that. Come with everything I pretty much needed for it, except for the mounts. The mounts, a little dark in there. But I was able to fabricate some mounts. Here we go. Let's see. I was able to fabricate these mounts and hook them up to the bumper and the frame. Just use some U-bolts, use a step drill bit, got everything right, and a big plate of steel going all the way across to hold it. So we was able to get that taken care of. And it works great. Hooked it to a tree, stretched the line out, worked great, perfect. All right, got the Acerbus hand guards. Them things was like $30 on eBay or Amazon, something like that. Put on this Mad Dog ATV rear bag. See my wrenches left in it. Put that on there. It was like $50 from Walmart. Put on the seat pad to keep us. I know my wife's a smoker, and we felt like maybe eventually with wind or a branch, she may have a cigarette in her mouth. You know, rednecks do what rednecks do. So we got her a seat cover. Now you can see it a little bit better. Seat cover was like $15 at Walmart. I think it'll be perfect. It'll help the seat. Now I will say, when the seat came in, when we unloaded it out of the crate that it shipped in, the seat had a little hole in the corner of it. We did take a little bit of stitching. We fixed that ourselves. We didn't bother the company. Like I said, there was so many more issues to come. We just didn't want to bother the company with all that. You know. That winch does come with a remote, and when you buy the cheap ones from Harbor Freight, they don't come with a like a key pad that you would hook up, a hardwire one. All they come with is this remote control. Well, if your batteries go dead, you lose it, whatever, no good. So we did get on Amazon, and I bought this switch right here. It's an in and out. It's wired to the winch, and it mounts to your handlebar. I got it for maybe $15. I did wire it in. There's some YouTube videos and stuff like that you can find. That'll help you out. That's something you'd really want to do. That way, whether you're sitting on the bike, whether you're off the bike, whether you've lost your keys, whether whatever, you could still use that winch. And once again, none of that is cut into the factory wiring. Factory wiring has not been touched on this bike. It's just all straight to the battery. I do like that idea. I do plan on adding a kill switch to that stuff. That way I don't have to energize the lines while we're doing it or anything like that. It does have heavy duty racks. These are some of the heavier duty racks that you'll find. They can hold plenty of weight. From the factory, it says 66 pounds on the front. The back, I believe, has a way higher weight limit on it. I do like it. It's got turn signals. It's got reverse. It's semi-automatic. It being a semi-automatic, you don't have a clutch. Okay, so what you do is you will still change gears, but you don't pull in your clutch. So for beginner riders, for women riders, something like that, that is a pretty cool feature. It gets them to a halfway point where you don't have to worry about them just shooting off like a rocket, not being able to stop it. All they got to do is let go of the gas. It'll still be running, but it'll come to a complete stop, whether you're in first gear or fifth gear. It is one of those engines that's very, very similar to the Hawk motorcycles, the TBR7s. Let's see. Importer Ricky Power Sports. Manufacturer Chongong Hyosin Motorcycle. You can kind of see that a little bit. This thing was just made 7/20/20. Tires on it are pretty cool. Like them pretty much. Other than that, it's a pretty good four-wheeler, even though some of the parts on it do seem to be a lower end. And some of the parts are specialty parts, like this toggle switch. When you pull it out, it has a proprietary plug on the back of it, which means you can't just buy one of those cheap ones on Amazon without having to actually cut the ends off of your factory wiring and then wiring it in that way. I didn't like that. It is a proprietary switch, and you cannot find that particular kind anywhere that I've looked, other than calling, Ricky Power Sports or TX Power Sports and trying to do it on your warranty, or trying to purchase it through them or something like that. So that is an issue, that you cannot find that toggle switch. The brakes, the rear brakes, it does have disc brakes on the front, dual disc brakes. On the back are drum brakes. The drum brakes don't work worth a crap. I'll just go ahead and say that. I know that's been an issue on a lot of things, a lot of power sports with drum brakes. They just don't work too well. They work, but they don't work great. It don't matter how you adjust them, or if you get them too tight, then they just stay locked up. If you don't get them tight enough, then they just don't work. It's one of the things with that. So, it is what it is. I know they got another model, an older version of this thing, that's like a Gyosin JS250 ATV. And if you'll look, they're identical, except for a couple of key components. On that model, this right here is a 12-volt outlet. On this one, they didn't even plug the hole. They just used a little piece of rubber. They plugged it and, didn't change the molds from the fairings. So there's an empty 12-volt hole right here that you could use later on that would have normally, on the older model, come with it factory. I believe that model also, instead of being a drive driven, it was chain driven. So you got a cool upgrade on this model through that. That is a higher quality feature. You don't have to worry about adjusting chains or them popping off in the middle of the woods. Maybe not having the right tools. Maybe not. So it's pretty nice. You can see the reverse drive's a little bit different. This is your reverse lever right here. Push it forward, you're in reverse. Pull back, and you're in forward. And then, of course, your normal gear shifter to the semi-automatic right here. You can see it's the exact same engine as the Hawk. Exact same engine with an external transmission. Parts would directly interchange with the Hawk 250, the Hawk DLX, TBR7, the CSC motorcycles. I know a lot of guys buy their parts through CSC just because they have them readily in stock. They're pretty much the best one that's actually got all parts labeled, prices labeled, ready to rock and roll with them. So you get some of those parts for this. I was able to find the ignition switch through AliExpress labeled under the JS250. Under any other circumstance, you can't find it on eBay or Amazon without searching for that other four-wheeler. It's got a proprietary plug, and I may have one right here. This is the one that took off of it that was shorted. On the end of it, it's got a proprietary waterproof connector, which is actually not that waterproof. You can see that it's only very little, and it just barely connects. It's got this proprietary plug that don't go to nothing other than this. This is the only thing in the world I could find that this fits. You can see the old keys with it. No need for them anymore. Just shortened it out. Who knows? All right. Other than that, been pretty good. Had to adjust the valves. The valves was pretty much as tight as could be. They were shut when it first got here. I did go ahead and change the rear drive trains oil to the 80-90 weight. Went ahead and changed the reverse gears oil to the 80-90 weight, which we bought Klotz branded just for ATVs, and it made a huge difference. Okay, it made a huge difference. You put it in reverse and it would clank into reverse. Now it's whisper quiet, just goes right into gear, no issues, no nothing. But that's pretty much it for now. You see it does have nice gauges on it. It does have some nice gauges. If it'll zoom in, let's see. There we go. Thing, you can see it. It's got 33. I believe that must be minutes, because that's right at about what I've drove, and I know it can't be miles or kilometers because I haven't drove it that far. It registers 80 miles per hour, but it won't go that fast. Not exactly sure how fast it goes. I'm going to assume that about 40 miles per hour, maybe a little bit faster once the engine's broke in. You can turn your headlights off and on from a switch. You don't have to ride with them on. You can turn them off, just run with running lights, or cut them off completely and run. So yeah, there it is, Canyon 250. Make your mind up. If you got the parts warranty, it's worth buying. If not, you know, it is what it is.